back with you live down here at Auburn as we get rolling with Coach Hugh Freeze, who's about to sit down and talk with us about being a great father. And,
yeah, I've got that part figured out, right?
Hey, I'm telling you, my daughter's boyfriend and her. I'm not supposed to say. I'm not going to talk about it. I got an important dinner coming up soon. I'm nervous about it.
I've done 2 of those, and trust me, those will challenge you.
Yeah. Do you? Sure. Is there any other reason to have a dinner?
I think it's mine were. I knew they were both coming. And I certainly didn't need to have a dinner with them. we went out in the backyard and had a conversation.
Well, thank you first for opening your doors today. We've talked to softball and gymnastics and baseball and equestrian and everybody, but we really wanted to spend some more time with you when we got down here, and it's been fun getting to know everything else. But to see this facility, when you came here and saw this thing, man, this is something. When a recruit walks in, it wows them, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's when I first was offered the job and got to see the place, we were not in it yet. No one was in it, and it was exciting to see the possibilities of it. And it's still, truthfully, we still have some things here and there that we're still doing that's going to make it even better. But it's certainly. We're thankful to our administration, all of our boosters and supporters that have allowed us to have such a phenomenal place to go to work and to recruit kids to. It's sure helpful.
You've had obviously success in this league before at Ole Miss, and we were talking to Luke and Payton earlier, and I was talking about coaches, elite coaches in year 2, Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, Kirby Smart. They make that big jump. Mm-hmm. And I would assume you're kind of expecting now that if you can ever manage a roster in today's NIL world, but I would assume you expect a pretty big jump from year 1 to year 2.
I think through all of that stuff, and I try to think back to the journey we had at Ole Miss, and we went from 7 to 8 to 9 to 10, and so you do expect. When you take a job like this at a place like Auburn, you do expect to improve. You just hit on the thing that wakes up and haunts you is, used to you recruited a class, and I knew, our first full recruiting class at Ole Miss, I knew we were on to something, and that our environment was attractive, and these kids could help change the program if you could just back it up with some following classes, which we were able to do. And I think recruiting, we've proved we can do that here, a top 7-6 class in year 1, and we're off to a great start in 25. But retaining them, I didn't have to do that as much, and so I think that is the biggest question mark you have as far as how fast, and the guys you mentioned, I don't think had to deal with that. Taking over a program that many would say was down considerably compared to what its proud history is, and so I think that's the unknown. Do we expect improvement? Of course, absolutely. What does that look like in the win-loss column? I don't know. That's hard for me to quantify, but certainly anticipate us improving, and I think we proved we were pretty committed to the high school recruiting in the 24 class, and we stuck to that, and we didn't portal chase a lot. And now, do people give you the time to do it that way where I think it's more sustainable? And part B, those top guys we recruited, well, the voices are going to come for them, and what is our success rate of retaining? So I think those are the big question marks as to how fast. I have no doubt that we can get Auburn back to where it's been. It's just it's hard for me to put a time frame on it.
Jay Billis, I saw him say on ESPN, back in the day a coach would say it's my way or the highway. Yeah. But back then there was no highway. Now there's a highway. Yeah. So it's kind of harder, he was saying, for a coach to take that attitude, it's my way or the highway, because the highway exists now for the players.
It's very different, and I talk to friends of mine in the business, and it's certainly a greater challenge. I try to one of my goals in 24 that my wife is on me about is quit complaining, and so I'm trying to just embrace the fact that, man, we still have a great opportunity and a great job to do, even with the changes that many of us probably are not crazy about, and we don't believe that they teach the proper things totally, but we still have that opportunity, and I do think it's vital. I have to become a better listener. I did that in January with this squad, and let them present to me kind of what they thought the standard should be, because maybe I'm a little old school with some things, and I think that's been healthy. But there's definitely some changing that has to come from our end also in this new era.
You see things that the media and the fans don't see. And when Payton Thorne was with us earlier, that's probably the longest amount of time I've seen him talk and be around him and things. And I think I saw just a glimpse, of why you believe in him so much.
Yeah.
I mean, he has some really good leadership qualities that I think in 18 minutes I was able to see better than in a 30-second soundbite.
Yeah, it's I get, people in today's time, and everybody has a voice and whatever platform they choose to be on, and they don't get to see everything. I do believe in Payton as a person, number one, as a leader. Certainly, he's got to earn what comes his way. I believe that for everybody. And do I believe he can become better in our system? Yes. But I do think it takes people around him too. And he was pretty dang good when he had those two NFL receivers at Michigan State. And if we can put some of those around him, maybe he can reach his full potential here. And but I do believe in who he is and what he's about and how he goes about doing. His football IQ is good. He studies the game. And I also think we got some people that are pushing him a little bit right now that are going to help him become hopefully even better.
And your journey, you've had some high highs, you've had some low lows. Go back to Hattiesburg, Mississippi, 1991. You're cut from the baseball team. Is that something that sticks with you? And can you use that as a life lesson to talk to some of these kids, some of these walk-ons, and people that are really challenged with what's going on?
Oh, heck yeah! I tell these kids all the time. I teach a class to them, and it's all about my life story typically, and I usually try to find stories from it. And it's not like I tell them all the time. It's not like your coaches. Many of us didn't always have it our way. I wasn't good enough to be the starter at Auburn, And so, what do you do when that happens? What do you do when life hits you like that? And last week's word is funny. You mentioned that. Last week, I'm teaching a series called Words from a Father this spring, and last week's word was failure, which I believe is a myth if handled correctly. And it's really not failure. It's just steps to success. And truthfully is I get tested, I fail, I learn, I improve, I re-enter. I get tested, I fail, I learn, I improve, I re-enter. And that's the game of football, that's the game of life. Unfortunately, there's you get to when you get tested and failed, it's right then that which voices do I listen to? And there's a ton that will tell you to search for greener grass and don't stay true to your dream or to your – it was Thomas Edison, I think, that said, I never failed. I just got it wrong 10,000 times before I got it right. And, if you truly are passionate and committed to something, then it's then that you have to listen to those voices and not the ones that are looking for an easier out. And I'm afraid that – this week I'm teaching on another word, but I'm afraid that those are the people that you get to the end of your life and it's a bunch of would have beens, could have been, instead of, man, I was truly committed to something. And so, I use my failures.
Was one of those young voices in 1991 Brett Favre in Hattiesburg?
Well, Brett and I became good friends, so that was
well, you got a catalog of friends that people know nothing about.
Brett and I really didn't get close until I became the head coach at Ole Miss. I mean,
right.
I knew him when we were at Southern Miss, but we kind of enjoyed outdoors a little bit, and were able to get to know each other during my time there, and so Brett is not one that I would call and get advice from. Nor not that he wouldn't have it. I just we're not that close, but I do think a lot of Brett.
Is there a game, you mentioned failure as a misconception, is there a game that you can pinpoint that you learned, either good or bad, that you learned more from than any other game you've coached?
Well, 4th and 31 kind of sticks out right now.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring that up, but that was a difficult loss.
How many times do you watch it again?
I don't. I'm not watching it since
ever
that
again.
week.
Huh?
No, I watched it after that week, and that was it. But
well, what did you learn there?
Well, that's probably not the best answer for that. I mean,
it's the most fresh wound.
Honestly, I know that there's a lot of people that would second guess. Well, you should rush more, or you can do that all day long. But I honestly don't disagree with the call. We probably should teach it a little better and execute it a little better. And if you rush a bunch of folks right there, we hadn't tackled him all night rushing him, so then you're one-on-one back there, and I don't like that idea. So I kind of agree with the call, but we certainly didn't execute the call very well.
And it was a heck of a throw. I mean, gosh.
It was, but we should have just been standing there with our butt to the sideline, just please throw it here, let me knock it down or something. And so we didn't obviously teach it very well to our young men to get that executed there. It was probably go back to high school. We lost our 4th straight state championship game.
So you lost 4 in a row? 4
in a row.
Wow, that's Buffalo Bills.
Marv Levy, yeah.
Marv Levy,
Four in a row before we won a string, but got there, a lot, and.
Please tell me somebody wrote a column that says you couldn't win the big game and then you won a lot after that, right?
I'm sure they did. I mean, most everything I've done has been written about it ad nauseum. But we were going in to score with a minute left, under a minute. We're on the 3-yard line going in, and feeling really good. I had a kicker that actually went to Tennessee, so worst case, we're down 3. You're thinking, man, we're at least going to tie this thing, but I'm thinking we're going to score. And, it's back when you're running the old wing tee, belly play, and so it's like 2nd and goal from the 3, and we run a belly play, and our quarterback was reading it, and he comes out to belly, and he hits the thigh of the fullback at that time that we had, and the ball pops right up in the air, right into their defensive end, and he goes 98 yards for a touchdown.
Oh my gosh!
And that was the 4th one that we've lost, and all were really close, every one of them. And boy, I was in a tank, man. Like, I don't know that I'm gonna keep doing this for a profession. I mean,
you on 3 plays, you have to age like Barack Obama in presidency, because I go back to Hunter Henry.
No, 4th and 25. Let's fling it over our head.
I'll never forget. I was
goes
sitting on
right
my couch.
to the only guy,
Alex
that could run
Collins.
for
Yeah. And you guys are going to Atlanta.
There's 22 guys on the field. The one guy you can't have catch that is Alex Collins. Yep.
The one guy, and I mean. So, and you're taking Ole Miss to Atlanta then.
Yeah.
And
that's a big deal.
Laquan Treadwell against Auburn going in to score that might still would have sent us to Atlanta the next year, and breaks his ankle, and they review it, and it's a fumble.
Dang, Coach.
I've had. And then,
I'm sorry I asked the question now.
4th and 31 here in year 1. So, you learn something from all those games.
What's the most amazing play that went your way?
The one when you started talking about the ball popping up in the air, I thought back to that when you were at Ole Miss and you won in Tuscaloosa. As I remember it.
Attaboy Joe.
Yeah, Attaboy Joe caught it. 2 defenders, I think, collided and the ball popped straight up.
The guy that really made that play is Laquan Treadwell.
Right.
Because he's the one that fought the 2 defenders and helped pop it up in the air.
And it just went right in his hands.
And it went right in his hands. We scored a bunch of points that game without that play, so it's hard to say that one is the one that kind of sticks out in my mind. But probably it was girls basketball. Really, we were down 19 points in the state championship game
with a
with
shot
2
clock?
minutes left. No shot clock.
Oh no!
That game ought to be over.
And win it in overtime.
2 minutes, you're down 19 points.
And win it. I've never seen anything like it.
That is incredible.
How did the other coach not just burn clock?
He was not happy, but we pressed them and got a few turnovers, hit several threes right in a row, and that was our 8th state championship game in girls basketball, and we won 5 of them.
Well, with that said, I guess you'll agree with what I said. I said forever ago when Alabama was having a hard time getting a basketball coach, I was like, let Nick Saban coach them. I mean, a coach
figure it out.
A coach can coach, right, and recruit.
Yeah, I had no clue when, I was there as just a first-year assistant football coach, and the president of the school who started, who you feared, you're scared to death if you got a pink note from him that said, "Come see Mr. Clayton." I mean, it was like, oh my God,
different world.
Oh
now.
yeah, scared to death. And I got that pink slip, and I'm like, oh, what in the world? And it wasn't a conversation of will you. It was, hey, coach, we've got an issue with this women's basketball program here. It's at December in mid-year, and I'm making a change, and I need you to take it over and get it through the rest of the year. And it was, yes, sir. And I had no clue what I was. And heck, 13 years later, I enjoyed the heck out of it. And now we got really good. I mean, really good. We were, top 25 in USA Today rankings several times, and we're really good. And so, but I figured it out, and truthfully, there was some Kevin McMillan. Truthfully, is who I learned most of the offensive sets that I would want to run. He still does a great job at UT Martin. He's going to make the NCAA every year. Obviously, it's hard for them to win in it, but he's going to be in it. And then defensively, I decided we are just going to run and jump and play 5 in, 5 out, and just make it as chaotic as possible. And darn, if you find out, man, once you get a few athletic girls that can do that, it causes chaos for them. And we were just. And it started working out pretty good.
Yeah, 40 minutes of freeze would have been a great nickname for that defense.
That's right.
Then.
So, from Briarcrest to that, did you ever envision this? Was that the goal?
It's crazy. The first word I taught in the Words from a Father series was vision, and I shared with them my true story of when Jill and I got married. We didn't have much. But our honeymoon was in Gatlinburg, and
PC on a hill, right?
Yeah, man.
Panama City with
We
mountains.
thought it was big time.
It should be noted, I did not laugh until they.
Yeah, of course.
He knew we were going to laugh.
That's
do you go back yearly?
We haven't in a while, but I like the place actually, and my parents love that place. So, but we. On the way there, obviously, we were coming from Memphis, and you go through Knoxville, and we stopped at Neyland Stadium, and I found a gate that was. My wife is a rule follower, to a T rule follower, and And so I said, well, we can get through this gate. Oh, we're not doing it. Yeah, we're going through this gate. And finally drug her through it pretty much. And and we went down on the field, and I did tell her then, I said, one day I'm going to be a head SEC football coach.
Wow.
That is absolute truth. Fast forward 13 years.
Did she believe you?
That's the crazy part is fast forward 13 years, she is the only one that still believed it.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
that ship had sailed for me, and so I was sharing with our kids that story of vision is you need who you surround yourself with matters, and had it not been for her encouragement, this would not be happening because you have kids, you're now a head coach at a good high school that paid decent for high school, and your kids get to go there, and great Christian school education, and so there's no way I can go do this anymore. And they don't just hire you in the SEC to come be a coach. And but she just wouldn't relent. And so I know you don't have time, but there's a lot of neat stories in that little journey of of me flying to Miami and sitting on a park bench for 2 hours waiting to get in front of Ed Orgeron, and I did. I flew down there, and they were playing in the national championship. He'd already been named the head coach there, and finally got in front of him. He told me his staff was full, of course, and I had some good players in, Greg Hardy and Michael Orr and Robert Towns and Justin Curry, and all these were recruitable players, and so but he, well, fast forward, we're in the state championship game in basketball in March, and I get a call from him and saying, my staff's still full, but I do, you're well recommended down here by a lot of people, and I've kind of got this new position I'm creating. This just kind of in his words, a gopher position, and that just kind of helps me go between the administration and stuff, since this is my first head job, and wondering if you'd be interested in that. I asked him what it paid, $38,000. I'll never forget that. And I said, I don't know about that, Coach. I'll have to. And Jill she said, you've got to do it. You've got to take your shot. And
that's incredible.
So she talked me into it, and from that time that I took that off the field spot, 7 years from that time, I was back as a head coach in the SEC.
When the first time you stood in Neyland Stadium, did that feel different, though, because that's where you made that promise?
Never.
You've never coached at Neyland?
Not as the head coach, no.
So when you go finally coach there, and I don't know how this SEC schedule is going to work out.
That will be.
Well, that'd be pretty cool. That'd have to be pretty cool.
Well, I hope game day's there, and that guy who always makes me cry does the story.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
I'll be crying on game day.
that would have to be an amazing feeling to say, this is where I stood
Jill
here.
would love to talk about that one.
Yeah.
That would be. That would be a neat time. I haven't thought about that, and and there were still some ups and downs now.
I was going to say, the Ed Orgeron thing's fascinating, because we've heard the story with Tommy Tuberville. Have you heard the Orgeron to Tommy Tuberville story?
I haven't.
Where Orgeron basically calls up Tuberville, and he's like, I've got one assistant position left. And he had to drive overnight, like in his Toyota Tercel or something. And he got there, and he ended up rooming with Tommy Tuberville.
Yeah.
But Orgeron basically begged for a spot on his staff.
In Miami, yep.
I mean, that's what I did. I mean, this.
And but then Ed gets fired, and I have no clue what to do at that point. I've only been in the college game 3 years, and it's not like I have a Rolodex of head coaches to call and say, hey, I've got look at my resume. I'd done a good job, I thought, of coaching receivers, and I recruited well, but it's not like I had I just didn't know what to do. So really in my mind, I'm going to go back to high school, and drove to Nashville, got offered a high school job there, and thought I was going to take it. And on my way back, I get this call from this little bitty school called Lambuth University in Jackson, Tennessee, and we were ironically on the way back from Nashville to Oxford, and it's right in the middle, and we stopped by there, and I go in. I mean, you're talking about no facilities, no weight room.
Briarcrest had better facilities.
Oh, not even close.
Yeah.
I mean, literally you didn't even have stands on the field.
Oh my gosh.
And so, and I go in there and I see the players working out in the gym, and Jill looks at me and she says, "You're going to take this, aren't you?" And I said, "I think I am.
Yeah.
I think I am. I just want to see if we can take maybe the worst situation and win." And I want to tell you, it was two of the most enjoyable coaching years. We won 23 games and went to the playoffs both years. That's where I met Kalen DeBoer. He was at Sioux Falls, and it's where I hired Tom Allen. It's where he got his start in college football at Lambuth University, and Darren Hiller and Grant Hurd and Lee Wilbanks, and all those guys are doing really well in the college game now. And so we were that was an interesting time there.
Good day fishing, good day on the golf course.
Golf course.
Golf course every time?
I like catching a fish, but only if it's behind my house and I can be home in 5 minutes. Golf is so enjoyable to me. I'm crazy about it. I love competing at it. It's really, I really love it. I mean, I just want to compete, and I can be decent at it at times when I play a lot, but I love it. I love the fellowship of it. I love just playing the next shot and trying to put the last one behind you. And so,
do you have any good Jonesboro course stories with mosquitoes all over the place? Is that a legit thing with mosquitoes in Jonesboro?
There is a part of the season in Jonesboro, yes, that they are bad at night. It's not like it's terrible during the day. So you didn't experience a lot of that in the golf course, but the biggest mosquitoes we've ever experienced was in our time in Jonesboro, for sure.
Yep. We got like 2 minutes. Can we go rapid fire right now?
Oh, we can save it. We'll see you.
Want to save it?
Yeah, I'll save it. We'll see you at
You're going to be
Regions.
at the Regions. We'll do it with you at the Regions.
Lord willing, I'll be there.
Yeah. Coach, thank you very much for having us.
No,
today.
it's been a pleasure. Thank y'all for covering all.
Yeah, you got some incredible. I will ask you one real quick.
Yeah,
So,
ask me one.
I don't know if you ever heard the story about Bob Stoops and Nick Saban were in a bar in Youngstown, and they were talking like defensive strategy, and a dude came in and robbed the bar. This is a true story, and I'm just wondering because you've got
It's
crazy
not April
stories.
Fools now.
We don't
No,
know.
this is
I'm
true.
telling you, it's a true story.
Yeah.
We
Neither one of them noticed it.
Yeah,
right?
they had no idea.
They didn't even know what happened.
Nick's never told me that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but ask him about it next time. But do you have any of these crazy stories like that?
I do. I've got Noah Mazzoni. I don't know.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you know
Nice.
him.
Yeah, we know Coach.
Well, I had convinced myself that he was my ticket to the college game, to get in. I really thought, man, and he had taken a liking to me and was recruiting Briarcrest and was doing really well as the OC with Tuberville.
Mm-hmm.
And I really thought he was going to be the next head coach at one of these schools, wherever, and I was going to be able to get. And so he tells me the AFCA convention is in New Orleans this given year, and hey, meet me down here at this particular establishment. I go into this place that, we're supposed to be there, I guess 7 o'clock or whatever the time was. Well, 9 o'clock comes and Noah Mazzoni's still not there. So obviously I was totally wrong about that. And during that time there was several other coaches that were in the establishment there, and they all got in a little trouble. And watching me trying to get out of that and run out the back doors, and I called my wife and I said, Jill, I'm getting on the next plane and coming home. I'm not chasing this dream anymore because this was uncomfortable for me. Believe it or not, most people won't, but most of my life I've made decisions I was really, really proud of. But there's been a few that have really
we all make those bad decisions. You got to give us the unedited version of that story when we get off the air, because I know it's better.
I'll give you the 3 coaches' names.
All right. Thank you, Coach. We appreciate it.
Good luck this year.
Thank you so much, guys.